Eric's a little taller than I. Thank you for the great welcome, friends. You know, it is hard to imagine that it's been 8 years since Mitch Daniels and I stood on this stage and promised a freight train of change. But you placed your trust in us. You stood very strong beside us, and that train came roaring down the track. You know, there were many unknowns before us, but one thing was certain: the status quo we inherited would not meet the test. And we pursued opportunities, and if none were to be found, we had to create the opportunity. You know, we did everything in our power to reduce taxes so our families could climb the economic ladder and our businesses could flourish. And we set our sights on the fiscal health and the economic health of our state. And you know, all of that hard work of the first 4 years served us very well, because as you know, shortly thereafter, a difficult economic storm hit our nation very hard. But with commitment and dedication and discipline and perseverance, Indiana did indeed stand very strong in the tempest. And today, here we are in a great position. Indiana is positioned to surge forward once again. And on a personal note, I hope it's no secret that I love Indiana. And today I am fiercely proud of who we are and where we are as Hoosiers. My goal was to serve in a way that brings honor to our state and opportunity to all of our people. You know, I have found great inspiration and encouragement in the strength of our people. I remember 7.5 years ago when I became lieutenant governor, a friend offered some sound advice. In fact, that friend was the permanent chairman of this convention, Ed Simcox. And Ed Simcox said that I should prepare to grow and be stretched in so many ways. Well, I suppose he was preparing me for sitting on a double throne with Chairman 10 of Vietnam, the leader of the country, talking about trade opportunities for Hoosiers, or negotiating with top military officials at the Pentagon to keep our state's military installations strong and to keep thousands and thousands of jobs, or simply having the strength and the composure to hold the hands of mothers and fathers, little brothers and sisters, as the bodies of 4 of our fallen Hoosier soldiers return home to the airport in a repatriate ceremony. Now, witnessing the pride through their tears was a moment that I won't soon forget, and just proves once again that Indiana is a state of patriots. You know, I will always be grateful to Mitch Daniels for giving me this opportunity to make a difference in the lives of Hoosiers. I admire him even more today than on that day in 2004 when I became his partner. You see, Indiana has one thing on our side that the rest of the country is looking for. Americans crave leadership, and Indiana has the best leader in the nation. let's turn our attention to the video.
To my friends in the Indiana Republican Party, welcome back from the wilderness. Now, after 16 long years, I think we're entitled to throw a party.
Daniels likes to do and be the unexpected. When he was elected as governor in 2005, he took over a state that hadn't balanced its budget in 8 years.
Many states are battling billion-dollar budget deficits, but Indiana is singing a different tune. It's pulling itself out of a $700 million hole in 2005, right now sitting comfortably in the black.
Within a year, Daniels had balanced Indiana's books.
We are paying all our bills. We do have money still in reserve. We did it without raising taxes.
Few meetings with him, and his focus on the bottom line is hard to miss, whether he's tackling an environmental project, welfare reform, or child protection.
Mitch Daniels took his place at this rally, serving as the honorary chairman of a campaign to pass permanent property tax caps in November.
Here in Indiana, we've done everything we know how, and this preceded the recession, to try to build the best sandbox in America, lower the cost of doing business, keep taxes down, particularly in this recession, make regulation fair and consistent, and try to have the most inviting climate anywhere for jobs and investment.
Governor, your state's private sector has added 46,000 jobs so far this year. That's a growth rate of 2%, which is triple the national average.
We've shaped our economy here to be, by all accounts, one of the most attractive to investment and growth and opportunity in the country. We built roads at record rates and then lowered property taxes to the lowest in the country, and we've made government work well.
Governor Mitch Daniels signed into law his comprehensive education
Daniels
reform
signed two education bills into law today. One expands the charter school system. The second creates a school voucher.
The way Hoosier teachers will be hired, evaluated,
The governor proposed full funding of statewide full-day kindergarten today. Right to work is now the law in Indiana.
Wednesday, some big news. The Senate passed the right to work legislation. First time in 10 years the state has done so.
Indiana ended the fiscal year in June a couple of months ago with a surplus of $830 million and a string of balance.
So why is Indiana in a different position right now than so many other states?
Thank you.
No, thank you all. I'm sorry about the noisy entrance, but I think Chairman Holcomb was afraid that with no hot nomination contests on the agenda, some of you might need a wake-up call. You know, I get around a little, and every time I'm out of state these days, I get the same question. Where did Indiana come from? How is it that one of those I states, they used to say, one of those flyover states, is now a national leader in business climate, fiscal integrity, transportation, education, property taxes, and basic nuts and bolts government performance? As the Daniels girls would put it, what is up with that? I always start the answer the same way. Indiana is a different state today because the Indiana Republican Party is different. Because it comprises men and women who care about the future, care about our young people, care about those yet to achieve the American dream. So we recruit and elect people with those ideals and then insist that they deliver real results once in office. That's where the new Indiana came from. That's why Indiana is a leadership state. For 7 years, we've worked every day to give Hoosiers the leanest, cleanest government possible. Now the nation recognizes Indiana Public Services as perhaps the best anywhere. Awards for transportation leadership, land conservation, child protection, correctional excellence, the best Bureau of Motor Vehicles in America, and many more. And the best part is Hoosiers see it. Last summer, a nation-leading 77% of our citizens called their state government effective. And all this while we turned a bankrupt state into a AAA model of fiscal integrity and delivered better results with the fewest state employees per capita in the country, the fewest Indiana's had on the payroll since 1975. I've noticed recently that after 7 years of reform, economy, and cleanup, some folks have forgotten what bad government looks like. To tell the truth, I sometimes lose sight myself. So I got out a list we compiled in our first months of duty. We called it the OMG list, and every tweeter here knows what that means. Now here's a tiny sample. 100 state workers indicted for stealing welfare funds and selling phony driver's licenses. Sweetheart contracts and sweetheart leases, $1,800 rocking chairs and $170 cookbooks, $300 grand per year to rent floor mats we could buy outright for 1/6 that amount. That's what bad government looks like. 5 print shops and 4 mail rooms when one of each would do. Acres of land, dozens of unused buildings, 3 times as many aircraft, and thousands more vehicles than the state really needed. So-called customer service offices that closed at 2 p.m., a $128 million white elephant prison sitting empty while we paid other states a premium to house hundreds of our offenders. That's what bad government looks like. Child protection caseloads at twice the national standard, political interference in the awarding of highway contracts, and do I need to remind anyone what the best BMV in America used to be like? If you had all day, I've got examples enough to keep you here, but the point is not to relive the past. It's to remind ourselves that lean, clean government is the rightful expectation of the voters whose permission we seek to be their employees in public office. And this Republican Party takes seriously the duty to meet those expectations. People used to write about Indiana having an inferiority complex. Well, those days are long gone. Something else I hear every time I travel outside our borders. People say, when you're done in Indiana, could you come be our governor? They're joking, and I joke back, but I go away from those encounters with a serious thought. Because people are looking up to Indiana these days in places we used to look up to: Michigan, Illinois, California. There's a very serious message for us all in that sea change. It takes a long time and a lot of work to build up a state. You can tear it down pretty fast. We did not pour heart and soul into building the best business climate in America, the strongest fiscal position in the country, or the most effective government services in the country just to turn it back over to those who would let it all run down again. We're going to elect Mike Pence. We're going to elect Mike Pence and a crew of fellow reformers who will lead this state further forward to the growth and hope that should be every Hoosier's birthright. In a couple weeks, the 50 states will close their fiscal years. Some, having slashed education and other vital services in ways that never happened here, will claw their way back to balance. But many others are still hopelessly in debt, with bills they cannot pay and future promises they cannot meet. But here, the only question will be, how big is the surplus? And how big a refund will each Indiana taxpayer receive as part of that surplus is returned to them? If you want to see the clearest difference between our two great political parties, there it is. Republicans remember that the resources of society belong to the free men and women who create and earn them. Government should never take them away without a very necessary reason. Having taken them, it must do all it can to see that no one of those dollars is ever wasted. And when it has all the dollars true necessity requires, and enough extra to protect against bad times, it should stop taking the people's money, period. Our opponents will never see the world that way. To them, government is not the enabler of private life, but its overseer. Not the subordinate, but the superior sector of society. Not one member of their party voted for the automatic taxpayer refund or ever would. To them, it's not your money except for what government absolutely must claim. It's their money except for what they let you keep. And that's another reason we have to win the election this fall. All right, please indulge me while I look around for a minute. This is the last chance I'll have to see this beautiful sight. I'm looking at the faces of people who have launched this state on a new era of leadership, good government, and hope. The party to whom Hoosiers look for the next improvement, the next set of reforms. The party of purpose. Whatever its successes, the test of any great organization, any great endeavor, is the ability to renew itself, to raise up fresh faces, to replace previous leaders who know when it's time to step aside and make way. That's how improvement becomes continuous. That's how reform and positive change becomes customary. Thanks to you, our party is loaded with new talent. The young mayors, the surge of new legislators, the 2 new women who will soon represent our state in the United States Congress, and of course, the outstanding new senator and governor who will lead us to victory 5 months from now. Let's win those victories the right way, the way we have for the last 4 elections. As builders, not bashers. We have a whole new round of constructive, positive suggestions about how to make life in our state better and fairer for everyone. Remembering that, as Ronald Reagan taught me, we have no enemies, only opponents. Speaking to the best instincts of our fellow citizens so that we can unite Hoosiers to tackle the next big goal and the ones after that. It has been the privilege of a lifetime to be your instrument in an era of unprecedented change and progress. I take my leave in the joyful confidence that this unique political organization is poised to win yet another crucial election, and then to lead the state we love on to a future second to none. God bless our cause and each of you.